Jason Aaliyah back here again. I'm getting over a bit of a cold right now, but I'm going to try and push on with these reviews. Today, we're going to be reviewing M3GAN. This was one of the first films that have come out this year, and I missed out because I didn't want to watch the current version that was in theaters because I was promised in the trailers something a bit more R-rated and bloody, while I heard that the theatrical version was watered down PG-13. Heard it was still good, but I wanted to wait until the unrated version came out to watch the movie in its proper form. Now that I had the time, what do I think about it? Well, in my opinion, M3GAN, for a January horror film, is surprisingly really good. Usually with these January horror movies, they are forgettable fluff that you just put in the background, or they're just they're terrible. Like, they could be just terrible. This one was actually one of the rare few ones that are actually really good, and that's because I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the story, the practical horror effects looked really good, and while I still wish the movie could have been a tiny bit more grislier and bloodier to intensify the situations a bit more, I still think for the most part that the movie was able to balance out its horror with its messages about technology and family trauma, especially of losing parents. I think that aspect of the film carries through very well within each scene of what the characters are going through, as our main character is trying to learn how to be a mother and trying to raise her kid, but she is someone who's only ever focused on her job and tried to use that as a way to probably connect with her, but just furthers more separates them both emotionally, and she's not able to properly talk to her, and the little kid lashes out at her a lot and sees M3GAN as the best source of comfort that she has. And while that is understandable because dolls are used for little girls to be able to cope with some emotions and to have something there to keep them company, this one is more intelligent. She actually speaks, has actual conversations, and she actually has a mind of her own that is inseparable, that is her own conscience, that the creators didn't really plan for. And so I think exploring that side of artificial intelligence and using that as a way to see how that breaks down a family and how that breaks them apart, I think worked very well. As for the horror itself, I think it actually works pretty well, at least in the unrated version that I saw. The gore and horror elements, the way tension is built with each scene, there's very little jump scares, and whenever there is one, it's usually of M3GAN being there looking creepy, and you're unsure of what is going to happen. But it's never followed up by a false jump scare. It's always something creepy going on in the background that you're unsure of. In fact, I say that there's not that kind of jump scare where there's just a loud noise. Just a jump scare where something comes out at you and you know something bad has happened. Those are the kind of jump scares that work, not the ones that just trick the audience. And I think the way the scenes with M3GAN and these horror scenes are incorporated worked very well. There's also a bit of hokiness and fun to the film that makes it feel like an 80s slasher film that I very much did enjoy. It was never overbearing or it ever took away from the serious side of the story. It just felt appropriate to the kind of tone this movie is going for and for what they're trying to make M3GAN out to be. I will say that my biggest issue with this, that sometimes it can lead to a few weird bits of dialogue, and not all of it works very well writing wise. And I just think that the script can tighten up the dialogue a little bit more. And as I said, I did feel still, even after watching the unrated cut, that the film could have been a little bit more violent and a bit bloodier to emphasize how dangerous M3GAN is becoming. There is a nice little hallway scene in which that famous M3GAN dance originated from in the trailers that I thought was gonna tease us with something later down the line that's a lot more grislier, and I would have loved that. But that's kind of the biggest and most violent scene in the entire film. Now, I'm not saying that the film needs to be Rob Zombie levels of bloody. No, it doesn't need to be like that. But I did feel like the movie should have had a little bit more teeth to it to help me feel the danger even more. Because it still somehow feels like it's holding back in the horror department. But the movie had a good story, it had good characters, it had good enough writing. It overall had everything that I want from a good movie, just bundled up in a nice little bow. There are a few problems here and there, and it's not the kind of movie that I would probably rewatch over and over again, but it is definitely an enjoyable horror film that I could still see myself maybe watching in the background, or just watching it once on a rainy day and get some enjoyment out of. I'm going to give M3GAN a B. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.